The instruments at the Deep Space Research Facility in Nevada weren't designed to detect what appeared on their screens that Tuesday morning. Dr. Elena Santos stared at the readings, her coffee growing cold beside her keyboard. The anomaly had first appeared near Jupiter's orbit, a massive energy signature that defied known physics. "Director Zhao, you need to see this," she called out, her voice steady despite her racing heart. Within minutes, the facility's main observation room filled with scientists and researchers, all watching as multiple objects began decelerating from what must have been faster than light travel. The objects, ships, they had to be ships, moved with impossible precision, forming a perfect geometric pattern as they approached Mars. Their size became apparent as they passed the red planet. The smallest was larger than Earth's largest city, the biggest rivaling a small moon. Across the globe, other observation stations were lighting up. The Chinese Space Agency, European Space Organization, and dozens of private aerospace companies all tracked the approaching fleet. For the first time in human history, there was no doubt. We were not alone. Director Zhao, a veteran of 20 years in space research, activated the Global Alert System. Within hours, the UN Security Council convened an emergency session, and military forces worldwide went to high alert. But the aliens made the first move before humanity could formulate a response. Every screen on Earth, phones, computers, televisions, even digital billboards, flickered to life simultaneously. The message was simple: your species has been identified as a potential threat to galactic stability. Submit to immediate integration into the Hexan Empire or face elimination. You have 72 Earth hours to comply. The message repeated in every human language, its precision suggesting deep study of Earth's communications. Panic erupted in cities worldwide. Stock markets crashed, religious leaders called for prayer or preparation, and millions fled urban centers, fearing immediate attack. But in a secure bunker beneath the Rocky Mountains, humanity's response was already taking shape. General Maya Chen, recently appointed head of the newly formed Global Defense Initiative, faced a room full of Earth's top military and scientific minds. "They're giving us time," she said, her finger tapping a tactical display showing the alien fleet's position. "The question is why. With their technology, they could strike immediately." Dr. Marcus Williams, lead xenobiologist, cleared his throat. The message itself might be a clue. "They called us a potential threat, not an actual one. They're cautious, or testing us," added Colonel Yuki Tanaka from Japan's Self-Defense Forces, watching how we react under pressure. In orbit, the International Space Station became humanity's forward observation post. Commander Raj Patel adjusted the station's sophisticated sensors, gathering data on the alien vessels. Something about their construction seemed odd. Their hulls reflected light in ways that defied conventional material science. Back on Earth, Dr. Santos noticed something in the Deep Space Facility's readings. The alien ship's energy signatures fluctuated whenever they passed through the sparse dust clouds between Mars and Earth. These fluctuations were tiny but consistent. "Look at this pattern," she told Director Zhao, pulling up comparative data. "Their shields, or whatever they're using for protection, they're not just deflecting matter. They're actively disintegrating it. But the process isn't perfect. There's energy loss." In the Hexan Empire's command ship, High Commander Zex Nar reviewed the humans' reactions with growing concern. "Their military response is primitive," he reported to the Imperial Council via quantum link. "But their adaptation speed is unprecedented. They've already begun analyzing our shield harmonics." "Proceed with caution," the Council responded. "This species has survived multiple extinction-level events. Their resilience suggests hidden capabilities." As the 72-hour deadline approached, humanity's scientists made a breakthrough. Dr. Santos and her team had been running simulations based on the energy fluctuations they'd observed. The aliens' matter disintegration technology showed a curious weakness. It became increasingly inefficient with denser materials. It's like they evolved their technology to deal with space dust and debris, she explained to General Chen. But they're expending exponentially more energy to handle anything more substantial. The revelation sparked an idea. Humanity couldn't match the aliens' technology, but perhaps they didn't need to. They just needed to understand its limitations. Commander Patel confirmed the theory from the ISS. The alien ships maintained careful distances from each other, and their formations changed when passing through denser regions of space. They were managing their energy expenditure. General Chen authorized a daring test. A small asteroid, carefully chosen from the belt between Mars and Jupiter, was nudged onto a new trajectory by pre-positioned mining charges. The aliens' response was immediate and revealing. Their entire fleet shifted position to avoid the relatively small space rock. They're not invincible, General Chen announced to the Global Defense Council. Their technology has limitations, and now we know what they are. As the deadline neared its end, humanity prepared its response. Space agencies worldwide began mobilizing their resources, not for surrender, but for a defense strategy no one had anticipated. The aliens had expected submission from a primitive species. Instead, they were about to learn why humanity had survived every challenge its harsh homeworld had thrown at it. Dr. Santos worked through the final hours, refining her analysis. The aliens' weakness wasn't just in their shield technology. It was fundamental to their entire technological approach. They had developed incredible abilities to manipulate energy and matter, but at a cost. Their systems were highly specialized and surprisingly inflexible. They're like over-engineered racing cars, she explained to General Chen. Extremely powerful under specific conditions, but vulnerable to unexpected challenges. And Earth is about to become very unexpected. As the 72-hour mark approached, High Commander Zexnar prepared to initiate the standard subjugation protocols. The humans' primitive defenses would be useless against Hexan technology, yet something bothered him. Their behavior didn't match any previous species' response to first contact. They weren't just afraid. They were actively preparing something. The deadline arrived. Every screen on Earth lit up again, expecting humanity's surrender. Instead, General Chen delivered humanity's response. To the Hexan Empire, we've studied your capabilities and identified your limitations. We don't seek conflict, but if you force this confrontation, you will learn why Earth species become apex predators. This is your only warning. In orbit, the alien fleet's commanders dismissed the message as primitive bravado. They didn't realize that humanity had already begun implementing a defense strategy that would shake the foundations of their technological superiority. The real battle was about to begin, and Earth's greatest weapon would be the very thing that had forged its dominant species: adaptation. The Hexan Empire's response to humanity's warning came swiftly. 3 massive warships broke formation, descending into low Earth orbit. Their intent was clear: a display of force to crush any thought of resistance. But as they entered the atmosphere, something unexpected happened. Dr. Elena Santos watched the readings with growing excitement. The alien ship's energy signatures were fluctuating wildly, far more than their models had predicted. They're burning through power just maintaining position in our atmosphere, she reported to General Chen. The air density is forcing their disintegration fields to work overtime. In the late Hexan vessel, Commander Krulvos fought with his ship's controls. The planet's atmosphere was thick, laden with particles their sensors struggled to process. Warning indicators flashed across his control panels. Their shield harmonics were destabilizing under the constant bombardment of water vapor and atmospheric gases. Impossible, he muttered, watching power readings drop steadily. These are peasant-class environmental conditions. On Earth, humanity's plan was already in motion. Weather control stations across the globe, previously used for agricultural and climate research, had been reprogrammed for a new purpose. Dr. Marcus Williams led the coordination from a facility in the Australian outback. Their technology evolved in deep space, he explained to the Global Defense Council via secure link. They're adapted to handle high-energy particles and radiation, but they've never dealt with anything like Earth's complex atmosphere. The first test of humanity's theory came over the Pacific Ocean. A concentrated weather system, carefully engineered by meteorological teams, moved into position beneath one of the Hexan ships. The effect was immediate and dramatic. The alien vessel's shields flared brilliantly as they attempted to process the sudden increase in atmospheric density. Energy readings spiked, then plummeted. The ship quickly retreated to a higher altitude, its behavior showing clear signs of distress. In the Rocky Mountain bunker, General Chen allowed herself a small smile. "Now we know for certain," she said to her assembled staff. "Their technology isn't designed for sustained operation in complex environments. Earth itself is our greatest weapon." Commander Raj Patel, still monitoring from the ISS, provided crucial data about the aliens' response. "They're adjusting their shield configurations," he reported, "but it's costing them. Each adjustment requires massive energy expenditure." The Hexan High Command was facing an unprecedented situation. Their sensors, calibrated for detecting advanced energy weapons and spatial anomalies, were being overwhelmed by the sheer complexity of Earth's natural systems. High Commander Zexnar faced an uncomfortable realization. Their standard conquest protocols weren't prepared for this scenario. "The humans are manipulating their environment," he reported to the Imperial Council. "They're using their primitive understanding of atmospheric dynamics as a weapon." Dr. Santos and her team worked continuously, refining their understanding of the aliens' technological limitations. Each interaction between Hexan ships and Earth's atmosphere revealed new vulnerabilities. The aliens' matter disintegration technology, so effective in space, became increasingly unstable in dense, dynamic environments. "It's like they built the perfect spacefaring civilization," Dr. Santos explained, "but never considered the challenges of planetary environments. They've over-specialized." Humanity's strategy evolved rapidly. Weather control stations coordinated with satellite systems to create precisely targeted atmospheric disturbances. Each encounter forced the Hexan ships to expend massive amounts of energy maintaining their protective fields. Colonel Tanaka's tactical analysis revealed another advantage. "Their ships are designed for space combat," she reported. "They maintain fixed formations, precise distances. Earth's atmosphere makes that impossible. They can't maintain their preferred combat configurations." The Hexan Empire had conquered thousands of worlds, but they had never encountered a species that could weaponize its entire planetary environment. Their technology, evolved for the sterile efficiency of space warfare, struggled against the chaotic complexity of Earth's systems. Dr. Williams made another crucial discovery while studying the aliens' communication patterns. "Their quantum links degrade in dense atmosphere," he announced. "They're having trouble coordinating their fleet through our weather systems." General Chen immediately grasped the implications. "They're not just fighting our weapons," she said. "They're fighting 3 billion years of evolutionary pressure that created Earth's systems, and we understand those systems far better than they do." In orbit, the Hexan fleet began to show signs of strategic uncertainty. Their ships maintained higher altitudes, carefully avoiding Earth's thickest atmospheric layers. Their powerful weapons, designed to pierce advanced energy shields, were proving surprisingly ineffective against the planet's natural defenses. Commander Krulvos faced a difficult decision. His ship's energy reserves were depleting faster than expected, just maintaining position above the turbulent atmosphere. "These humans," he communicated to High Commander Zexnar, "they're not fighting us directly. They're making their entire world fight for them." The Imperial Council's response revealed growing concern. No species had ever forced the Hexan Empire to fundamentally reconsider its conquest strategies. Yet these primitives, with their basic technology and crude weapons, were doing exactly that. Dr. Santos worked through another night, analyzing data from the latest encounters. "Look at this," she called to Director Zhao, pointing to her screen. "Their ships are actually deteriorating. The combination of atmospheric moisture, pressure changes, and temperature variations is affecting their hull integrity. The discovery sparked a new phase in Earth's defense strategy. Weather control systems were recalibrated to create specific atmospheric conditions that maximize this deterioration effect. Humanity had found not just a shield against the alien superior technology, but a way to actively degrade it. General Chen presented the updated strategy to the Global Defense Council. "We don't need to match their technology," she explained. "We just need to keep them off balance long enough for Earth itself to wear them down." In the Hexan command ship, High Commander Zexnar received increasingly disturbing reports. Ships were reporting system failures, power fluctuations, and deteriorating hull integrity. The humans' primitive defense was proving far more effective than anyone had anticipated. As the first week of the invasion approached its end, humanity's position had strengthened considerably. The Hexan fleet remained in orbit, their superior technology held at bay by the very environment they had dismissed as primitive. Earth's atmosphere, shaped by billions of years of evolution, had become humanity's strongest defense against an enemy that had never learned to cope with planetary complexity. The stage was set for the next phase of the conflict. Humanity had found its advantage, but the Hexan Empire was far from defeated. They would adapt, evolve their strategies. The question was, could they do it fast enough to counter a species that had made adaptation its primary survival trait for millions of years? The Global Weather Control Network activated at precisely 300 UTC. Across Earth, thousands of atmospheric manipulation stations hummed to life, their combined effect rippling through the planet's atmosphere like waves through a pond. Dr. Marcus Williams watched the atmospheric pressure maps shift and swirl on his monitors, a testament to humanity's growing mastery over their planet's natural systems. "Operation Downpours Go," he transmitted to General Chen's command center. "Weather patterns are responding exactly as modeled." The Hexan fleet, still maintaining their cautious orbital positions, detected the atmospheric changes too late. By the time their sensors registered the anomaly, Earth's atmosphere had already begun its transformation into a weapon unlike anything in the Empire's vast military experience. High Commander Zexnar watched with growing alarm as massive storm systems formed with impossible speed and precision. "This is not natural weather behavior," he transmitted to the fleet. "Maintain distance from." His transmission cut off as a wall of artificially generated storm clouds engulfed his ship's communication arrays. On the ISS, Commander Patel tracked the alien fleet's desperate maneuvers. "They're trying to maintain formation," he reported, "but our storms are forcing them to separate. Their coordinated defense is breaking down." The storms were unlike anything Earth had seen before. Using decades of climate science and weather control research, humanity had turned their atmosphere into a precisely orchestrated weapon. Massive fronts of high-pressure air herded alien ships into zones of intense electromagnetic activity. Clouds seeded with specific particulates created conditions that maximized the deterioration of the aliens' hull materials. Dr. Elena Santos monitored the effects from her station at the Deep Space Facility. "Their energy signatures are fluctuating wildly," she reported. "They're burning through power trying to maintain their protective fields against our atmospheric assault." In the Hexan command ship, system alerts blared constantly. Commander Krolvos fought to stabilize his vessel as another wave of dense atmospheric disturbances battered its shields. "High Command, we're losing cohesion," he transmitted. "These storms, they're not just interfering with our systems, they're actively targeting our weaknesses." The Imperial Council, receiving fragmented reports through deteriorating quantum links, faced an unprecedented crisis. Their forces, equipped with technology capable of destroying entire star systems, were being systematically overwhelmed by a planet's atmosphere. General Chen coordinated the global effort from her bunker. Displays showed the positions of every weather control station, every storm system, every alien ship. "Push them back," she ordered. "Don't let them establish stable positions. Keep them reacting." The Hexan fleet's formation continued to disintegrate. Ships designed to operate in precise geometric patterns found themselves isolated, surrounded by storms that seemed to anticipate their every move. Their attempts to regroup were met with new atmospheric disturbances, carefully positioned to drive them further apart. Dr. Williams' team had discovered another advantage. Their ship's sensors can't differentiate between natural and artificial weather patterns, he explained to the Defense Council. Every time they adapt to one type of storm, we change the conditions. They're fighting blind. The first Hexan ship fell 3 hours into Operation Downpour. Its shields, strained beyond capacity by the constant atmospheric assault, failed catastrophically. Earth's air, thick with carefully chosen particulates, began corroding its hull almost immediately. The ship retreated into space, its once gleaming surface pitted and scarred. Commander Patel captured the entire event from the ISS. "The damage is extensive," he reported, transmitting images of the retreating vessel. "Their hull material appears to be breaking down at the molecular level." High Commander Zexnar faced a decision that no Hexan commander had made in 10,000 years of Imperial expansion. "All ships withdraw to high orbit," he ordered. "Standard conquest protocols are suspended until we can counter these primitive but effective tactics." But withdrawal proved as challenging as combat. Humanity's weather control systems had created a layered defense, with each atmospheric band presenting different challenges to the aliens' technology. Ships that had survived the lower atmosphere found their systems failing in new ways as they passed through carefully engineered layers of turbulence and electromagnetic disturbance. Santos noticed something in the sensor data as the aliens retreated. "Their ship's energy emissions are changing," she reported. "The atmospheric exposure has permanently altered their shield harmonics. They're not just damaged, they're compromised." The discovery sparked a new tactical approach. General Chen ordered the weather control network recalibrated to exploit these changes. Storm systems were modified to target specific frequencies that would resonate with the aliens' degraded shields. The Hexan Empire's mighty fleet, which had begun the day preparing for a triumphant conquest, ended it in retreat. Their ships, designed for the sterile purity of space combat, had been humbled by the complex dynamics of a planetary atmosphere turned into a weapon. But victory had its cost. The global weather control network, pushed far beyond its designed capabilities, showed signs of strain. Power grids across the planet struggled to maintain the energy output needed for such precise atmospheric manipulation. "We can't maintain this level of control indefinitely," Dr. Williams warned. "The system was never designed for this kind of sustained operation." General Chen understood the implications. They had proven that humanity could defend itself, but they needed to press their advantage before their own systems failed. "Prepare for Phase 2, she ordered. "If we can't maintain this level of defense, we'll have to take the fight to them." In orbit, the Hexan fleet regrouped, their ships showing visible signs of damage. High Commander Zexnar prepared his report to the Imperial Council, knowing it would shake the foundations of their military doctrine. These humans had done more than resist. They had forced the Empire to confront the limitations of its own technological superiority. As Earth's artificially generated storms began to dissipate, both sides prepared for the next phase of the conflict. Humanity had proven they could defend their world, but the Hexan Empire had not survived for millennia by accepting defeat. The real test would come when the aliens adapted their tactics, forcing humanity to once again prove their capacity for innovation and survival. The battle for Earth was far from over, but for the first time, the outcome seemed uncertain, not just for humanity, but for an empire that had never known defeat. The Hexan Empire had not survived for millennia by accepting defeat. As their damaged fleet regrouped beyond Earth's atmosphere, High Commander Zexnar received new orders from the Imperial Council. Adapt or face extinction themselves. The Empire would not tolerate failure, even against an enemy as unexpectedly formidable as humanity. Begin atmospheric shielding modifications, Zexnar commanded. The Empire's finest quantum engineers worked frantically to redesign their defensive systems. They had never needed to defend against a planet's entire atmosphere before, but necessity drove innovation. On Earth, Dr. Elena Santos detected the changes in the alien ship's energy signatures. "They're altering their shield harmonics," she reported to General Chen, "trying to match the frequency patterns of our atmospheric disturbances." The Global Defense Council convened an emergency session. Humanity's initial success had bought them time, but not victory. "They're learning," Colonel Tanaka warned. "Their technology is still far superior to ours. If they adapt to our atmospheric weapons, we lose our only advantage." Dr. Marcus Williams had anticipated this. His team had been working on the next phase of Earth's defense since Operation Downpour began. "We don't just control weather patterns," he explained, pulling up complex atmospheric models. "We understand them. That's our real advantage." The plan that emerged was audacious. Instead of trying to maintain the massive storm systems that had proven so effective initially, humanity would use their weather control network in a new way. They would create atmospheric corridors, paths of relative calm surrounded by zones of intense turbulence. "We're not trying to destroy them anymore," General Chen realized, studying the proposal. "We're going to herd them. Control their movement through our atmosphere." Commander Raj Patel, still coordinating from the ISS, provided crucial intelligence about the aliens' adaptation attempts. Their ships now moved in looser formations, sacrificing their precise geometric patterns for greater flexibility. But this new configuration had its own weaknesses. The counterattack began at dawn. The Hexan fleet, confident in their modified shields, descended into Earth's atmosphere. At first, everything seemed to work as they planned. Their new shield harmonics handled the turbulence better, and their energy readings remained stable. Then humanity sprang their trap. The weather control network activated in a completely new pattern. Instead of generating massive storms, it created a complex network of atmospheric pressures, high-energy corridors of clear air cut through walls of turbulence and electromagnetic disturbance. "They're following the paths of least resistance," Dr. Santos observed, watching the alien ships unconsciously conform to humanity's designed corridors, just like water flowing through channels. The Hexan ships found themselves guided into killing zones, areas where Earth's defensive systems could concentrate their effects with devastating precision. Their new shields, designed to handle broad-spectrum atmospheric interference, weren't prepared for these focused attacks. Commander Krulvos realized the trap too late. "They're not just controlling the weather," he transmitted to High Command. "They're using it to control us, to predict and direct our movements." Dr. Williams' team continued to refine their approach. Each time the aliens adapted to one pattern of atmospheric manipulation, the weather control network would shift, creating new corridors and new traps. The Hexan fleet's superior technology became a liability. Their responses were too predictable, too dependent on programmed protocols. In orbit, High Commander Zexnar watched his fleet's carefully planned counterattack dissolve into chaos. The humans weren't just fighting back. They were turning the very principles of Imperial tactical doctrine against them. The Empire's emphasis on precision and coordination became a weakness when faced with an enemy who could control the battlefield itself. But the Empire had one final card to play. From the edge of the solar system, a massive ship emerged from faster-than-light travel. The Planet Breaker, a weapon designed to crack worlds open like eggs. If the Empire couldn't conquer Earth, they would destroy it. Dr. Santos detected the new arrival first. "The energy readings are off the scale," she reported, her voice tense. "Whatever this weapon is, it's unlike anything we've seen before." General Chen faced the grimmest decision of her career. Earth's weather control network was already strained to its limits. Defending against this new threat might burn out the entire system. But if they didn't try, there might not be an Earth left to defend. The solution came from an unexpected source. Commander Patel, analyzing the Planet Breaker's approach, noticed something crucial. "It's maintaining even more distance from Earth than the other ships," he reported. "Whatever this weapon does, they need perfect conditions to use it." Dr. Williams seized on this insight. They're not just avoiding our atmosphere, he realized. They need a clear shot. Their weapon must be incredibly sensitive to environmental interference. A new plan formed. Instead of trying to attack the planet breaker directly, humanity would deny it the conditions it needed to operate. The weather control network was recalibrated one final time, not to create storms or corridors, but to generate a permanent atmospheric shield, a constantly shifting barrier of turbulence that made precise targeting impossible. The planet breaker's first attempt to fire revealed the strategy's effectiveness. The massive energy beam, capable of shattering continental plates, dispersed harmlessly in the upper atmosphere, scattered by the ever-changing patterns of pressure and particle density. Their ultimate weapon, Dr. Santos observed, is just as vulnerable to environmental complexity as their other technology. They never learned to deal with chaos. The Hexan fleet faced a painful realization. Their technological superiority, developed over thousands of years of conquest, had become a form of evolutionary stagnation. They had optimized their weapons and defenses for the sterile predictability of space, leaving them vulnerable to the messy, dynamic nature of planetary combat. High Commander Zexnar received new orders from the Imperial Council. The cost of conquering Earth had become too high. The fleet would withdraw, but not in surrender. They would return with new weapons, new strategies. But as the alien ships retreated from Earth's atmosphere, humanity knew they had achieved more than just a temporary victory. They had proven that technological superiority alone wasn't enough. Adaptation, creativity, and understanding of natural systems could overcome even the most advanced weapons. The battle for Earth had changed the balance of power in the galaxy. The Hexan Empire had encountered something they never expected. A species that could turn their own planet into a weapon, not through technology, but through understanding. 1 month after the Hexan fleet's retreat, Earth's atmosphere still rippled with artificial weather patterns. The global weather control network had become humanity's shield, a constant reminder that their world itself was now their greatest defense. In the deep space facility, Dr. Elena Santos monitored the departing alien ships, watching their energy signatures fade into the darkness of space. But victory had brought new challenges. The planetary defense system that had saved Earth now threatened to destabilize the planet's climate. Marcus Williams worked tirelessly with his team to safely power down the weather control network without leaving Earth vulnerable to another attack. "We can't maintain this level of atmospheric manipulation indefinitely," he explained to the Global Defense Council. "But we can't simply shut it down either. We need to find a balance between defense and sustainability." The solution emerged from humanity's growing understanding of their own capabilities. Instead of maintaining constant atmospheric disturbances, they developed a rapid response system. Normal weather patterns would resume, but Earth could quickly generate defensive conditions if alien ships were detected. In orbit, Commander Raj Patel supervised the installation of new sensors on the ISS. The station had proven invaluable during the conflict, and now it would become humanity's early warning system. "We'll see them coming next time," he promised. No more surprises. The Hexan Empire's response to their defeat came 3 months after their retreat. But instead of another fleet, a single ship appeared at the edge of the solar system. Its design was different from the warships, smoother, less aggressive, a diplomatic vessel. General Chen watched from the Rocky Mountain bunker as the alien ship transmitted its message. The tone was different now. No demands, no threats. Instead, the Empire proposed a dialogue. "Your species has demonstrated unexpected capabilities," the message stated. "The Imperial Council wishes to understand how a pre-spacefaring civilization achieved what none before have managed." Dr. Santos analyzed the transmission. "Their quantum communications are being routed through multiple relays," she noted. "They're being careful to stay well beyond our atmosphere's reach." The global response was cautious but optimistic. Humanity had proven they could defend themselves, but lasting peace would require understanding. A meeting was arranged, but on Earth's terms. The diplomats would come to them, experiencing firsthand the environment their empire had failed to conquer. The alien delegation arrived in a specially shielded shuttle, landing at a neutral site in New Zealand. Their environmental suits, clearly designed to protect against Earth's hostile atmosphere, highlighted how fundamentally different their evolution had been. The lead diplomat, introducing himself as Council Observer Venzar, seemed genuinely curious about humanity's achievements. "Your species controls forces we considered uncontrollable," he admitted during the initial discussions. "Our empire has mastered the void between stars, but you have mastered the chaos of a living world." Dr. Williams, part of Earth's scientific delegation, explained humanity's perspective. "We didn't master chaos," he corrected. "We learned to work with it. Your empire tried to impose order on the universe. We accepted that some things can't be controlled. They can only be understood and guided." The diplomatic exchanges revealed surprising truths about both civilizations. The Hexan Empire had evolved on a world with minimal atmosphere, where survival depended on technological control of their environment. They had spread across the galaxy seeking worlds they could transform to match their needs. "But Earth taught us something profound," Venzar acknowledged. "There are other paths to advancement. Your technology seems primitive by our standards, but your understanding of complex systems exceeds ours." The implications extended far beyond Earth. Other species in the galaxy, previously dismissed as primitive by the Empire, might have their own unique advantages. The age of simple technological supremacy was ending, replaced by a more nuanced understanding of civilization's potential. General Chen, representing Earth's military interests, ensured that the diplomatic agreements included clear boundaries. The Empire would recognize Earth's sovereignty and right to self-defense. In return, humanity would share their understanding of atmospheric and environmental dynamics. "We're not giving away our advantage," she explained to concerned council members. "We're teaching them to respect the complexity they once tried to overcome. That's a better defense than any weapon." The agreement transformed Earth's position in galactic politics. Other species, hearing of how a primitive world had forced the mighty Hexan Empire to negotiate, began seeking diplomatic contact. Earth's atmosphere, once seen as a sign of their planet's hostile nature, became recognized as one of the galaxy's most sophisticated defensive systems. Dr. Santos found herself leading a new initiative, studying how Earth's defensive techniques might be adapted for other worlds. "Every planet has its own complex systems," she explained to a group of alien scientists. "The key is working with those systems, not against them." Commander Patel watched from the ISS as alien diplomatic vessels became a common sight in Earth orbit. Each visitor maintained a respectful distance from the atmosphere that had defeated an empire. The station's role evolved too, becoming a neutral meeting ground where species could interact without facing Earth's challenging environment. The Hexan Empire itself began to change. Their encounters with Earth had exposed the limitations of their technological approach. New research focused on understanding and adapting to planetary environments rather than trying to subdue them. Ships were redesigned, tactics reformed, and their entire strategy of expansion reconsidered. 1 year after the failed invasion, Earth celebrated not just its survival, but its emergence as a unique power in the galaxy. They still lacked the advanced technology of other species, but they had something equally valuable: the ability to understand and work with the complex systems that most advanced civilizations try to overcome. Dr. Williams, speaking at a global conference on planetary defense, summarized humanity's achievement. "We didn't win because we were stronger or more advanced. We won because we never forgot what most spacefaring races seem to forget: that life itself is born from chaos, and true strength comes from understanding that chaos, not fighting it." The Weather Control Network, now refined and integrated into a global environmental management system, stood ready to defend Earth if needed. But its primary purpose had evolved. It became a symbol of humanity's unique approach to advancement, working with nature's complexity rather than trying to impose technological order upon it. As Earth moved forward into its new role in galactic society, one thing became clear: The very features that the Hexan Empire had seen as primitive, Earth's dense atmosphere, its dynamic weather patterns, its environmental complexity, had proven to be humanity's greatest strengths. They had shown the galaxy that true advancement wasn't just about conquering nature's challenges, but about understanding and working with them. The stars no longer seemed like a distant frontier to be conquered. Instead, they became an invitation to share humanity's hard-won wisdom, that sometimes the greatest power comes not from dominating the forces of nature, but from learning to dance with them.